Hey patrons, Korey here, and this week's tutorial is going to be a level 2 song for some of you intermediate players, and this is going to be Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers. This is one of the first songs that I attempted to play as a kid, and I started playing guitar in the very early 1990s, and so this was a big deal to me to be able to play this song, and it didn't go so well, because there's a couple things we have to understand about playing the song. First of all, we do need a caged shape. So if you're not aware of what caged shaped are, it's basically spelling the word caged. C-A-G-E-N-D. These are the different forms and shapes of a C chord. Looks like a C, sounds like a C. Looks like an A, sounds like a C. Looks like a G, sounds like a C. Looks like an E, sounds like a C. And looks like a D, well really a D with F sharp in the bass, and sounds like a C. Okay, next we're going to move that C shape of caged up 2 fret to be D. Sounds nasty. Well, that's usually because we use a capo there. So if you notice, there's 2 open strings to our C chord, so we do have to bring that up 2 frets to be D. Okay? Now, my pinky is at the 5th fret of the A string. I am barring the top 4 strings of the guitar. Don't bar too much to the low strings because you will irritate your ulnar nerve. 3 or 4 is fine, okay? Kind of look at that as a bookending of this. Ring finger goes on the D string on the 4th fret, and my middle finger is going to go on the D note, which is B string, 2nd fret. Okay? Now, the way that John Frusciante recorded this song, he used, I believe, a Mustang or a Jaguar, so a very short scale Fender guitar, 24 scale length. So this is 25.5 inch, Gibson's 24.75, and the Mustang is 24 inches. Okay? And so he is getting a very kind of thin sound. He's also using a compressor and going direct to the board. Okay, so we're starting off with this cage shape, and what we're doing is hybrid picking this. Just the first 2 notes. We're playing the D on the A string with the pick, and we're grabbing the D on the B string with the ring finger, because we want both notes to ring at the same time. Now the tab is going to be available. I'll put the transcription on the video here so you can take a look at this, but I urge all of you, watch the video first and then perhaps go back and look at the tab, because this is one of those songs that is a lot easier to learn by rote, that means, you know, back and forth with me here, than it is to learn by the tab. The tab is overly complicated. Every single, you know, stray string and note that he plays is being, you know, written out. So okay, so I have those D notes played with the pick on the A string, the ring finger on the right hand is playing the B string, and then I have a little picking pattern where I'm doing D, G. Then I'm going to go with an upstroke back to the D. Okay, so let's do that a couple of times. Again. Again. Okay. Next, we're going to go up to the B string, and then an upstroke to the G string. And this is the first thing you hear. Now, there's no reverb, there's no delay, there's nothing really on this guitar tone. It's just the neck pickup of a Fender guitar with a little bit of compression on. I'm using my Ego compressor, I'm using my Quilter. This is the Mach 3 amplifier. Just a very clean sound, okay? And I would just chunk that information. Okay? Now, once you have that, and you can kind of rewind the video to this point, we're going to go down to the F sharp chord. Now, what does this have to do with D major? Well, not much. But F sharp major is kind of an interesting choice here, but it is the 3 chord. Okay? And we're doing a little walk down to F sharp. I'm playing 4th fret of the A string, which is C sharp, B, which is 2nd fret of the A string. Then we have A, G sharp, to F sharp. it's almost like we're going or hinting at the key of A major, E major, which we'll come back later. So now we have this. And now we're going to go to an F sharp major chord. This is going to be a bar chord, a standard major bar chord at the 2nd fret. I play my pick on the low E string, and my pinky is going to play the separation. That happens to be the perfect 5th of that chord. So let's start from the beginning. Okay. Now, there is a similar picking pattern on the F sharp major that there was in the D, only it is moved down a string. Now you see my hand went up. It's moved up physically, right? So D going down to that F sharp, right? So here I'm playing the hybrid picking motion, A, D, A, G, D. So let's try that. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. Let's start again. 3, 4, and... Okay, one more time. 3, 4, and... Okay, so this next little part here is a little kind of a tetrachord type of thing. It's part of the D major scale. Let's say that. Okay, so we're going 4th fret of the D string down to the 2nd fret, then to D, which is the pinky on the A string at the 5th fret, to the 2nd fret, which is B. Okay, and so I just want you to hear that from the beginning. Okay, so now we're kind of starting over with this whole riff. I'm going to hammer from C sharp into D on the A string, so like this. There we go. Now once I get to that D, I'm going to do another little arpeggiation. So I'm holding the D chord as we learned in Caged. That's a D. D, G, D, A. Those are the strings. And I'm telling you guys, being able to chunk this information is going to be everything for you. When I was learning these songs, I might spend 10 minutes going... I'd make it a little game, right? Okay. So now after you do that, we have this little trill or a hammer-on pull-off. I'm holding the D note with the middle finger in that D cage shape, using the pinky to hammer on and pull off that note to the E, upstroke on the G string, sliding that whole chord up to E major. This is anticipating the key that the song is actually in, which is E major. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. 3, 4, and... So let's start the whole thing from the beginning. 3, 4, and... One more time. 3, 4, and... Then we're going to add the F sharp in again. Okay? And that's a similar arpeggiation. Now Now, whenever we're doing that arpeggiation, when you're going to the string that's higher, you pick an upstroke. When you're going to the string that's lower, you pick a downstroke. So this is kind of the logic behind, economy picking. Down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, right? So it's that type of thing. Let's take a look at the song, and I'll play along with it for just a second. Okay, now I will tell you that this intro of this song will take you longer than any other part of the song. So once you get the intro down, you're totally fine. Now what did I do there? We kind of modulated from this D thing into the key of E major. So if you remember my video from the Axis of Awesome thing, this is just a 1-5-6-4. I'm playing E at the 7th fret of the A string, B major on the 7th fret of the E string, C sharp minor on the 9th fret of the E string, and then A major at the 5th fret of the low E string. That is the majority of the verse. Now, if you guys have been practicing your triads, you'll also be able to play the chorus. So when we're analyzing a song like this, we don't have to learn every single section of the song like a through composed piece, meaning like I'm going to learn note 25, then I'm going to learn note 26, then 27. No, we just learn parts. So if I know that is the verse, then I can kind of do those types of things over the verse. Now there are some variations, which we'll talk about in the next video, but for the most part, that's what it is. And then we have this E major 7 chord. So this is going to be a new chord. This is actually kind of foreshadowing a lot of the work we're going to be doing in the Guitar in a Year course in the second half, talking about all of our scales in every position, plus a little bit on 7th chords and modes. So to play this chord, just think of your E major chord at the 7th fret on the A string. Now, I want you to think of that G string note going back 1 fret. How would you play that? The G string goes back 1 fret. Well, we've gone from using 2 fingers to now being able, or having to use 4. So my first finger is on the A string on the 7th fret. My ring finger is on the 9th fret of the D string. My middle finger is going to be on the 8th fret of the G string. And my pinky is going to be on the 9th fret of the B string, okay? Now we don't need to know exactly why that's an E major 7 at this point, but just a little bit of talk about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7th note of that scale is put in the chord. Okay, next we have the chorus. So this is fairly simple, especially if you've learned your triads and the Guitar in a Year stuff. We're starting off with an F sharp minor chord at the 9th fret. Just hitting it once and then muting with the right hand. Then we're going to go to the E major at the 7th fret, that same chord, and we're going to hit it twice, like this. Okay? So notice that that F sharp minor is going to be on the upbeat. 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? So you're not necessarily playing it on a downbeat. So if you're trying to find the groove for this type of thing, 3, 4, Okay? Then we're going to go and play a B major triad on the top 3 strings. Okay? Now, I play this as a full kind of like a bigger triad, kind of like taking the strings 2, 3, and 4 triad of B major. That's B at the 12th fret with the middle finger. That's F sharp with the first finger at the 11th fret. And my ring finger is playing its major third, D sharp, on the ring finger. Okay, this is the 13th fret. And then I'm flattening that. Okay? On the tablature, you will find just this common D shape moved up to B. And you can totally play that. So, down, up on that B major triad. Okay? So B major is, of course, the 5 chord in the key of E major. F sharp minor is the 2 chord in the key of major. So this is a 2, 1, then 5. And then we go back to the F sharp minor. So let me play this whole part for you. So there'll be a little bit of technique involved in getting that to kind of line up with the song. So let's listen to the song. I'll play the parts in those spots, and we'll talk about it afterwards.
I drive on the streets 'cause she's my companion. I walk through the hills 'cause she knows who I am. She sees my good deeds and she kisses the wind. And I never worry, now that is a lie.
E major 7. Now we're going to go into that chorus part.
I don't ever wanna feel like I did that day. Take me to the place I love. Take me all the way. I don't ever wanna feel like I did that day. Take me to the place I love. Take me all the way.
So there's a few fills and things we were doing there. Now we all know that E major has a 3 chord G sharp minor. So I'm doing, playing that B major. There is a little, and so this is kind of like that B sus4 thing. He probably got it from being a fan of Jimi Hendrix. And that G sharp minor is just kind of before the A. Just kind of giving it a little bit of a lift. Put any questions in the comments below on this instructional video, and I'll try to address them. We'll do a full playthrough next time, and also the outro. For a lot of people, especially if you're in the Guitar in a Year course, beginner to intermediate, this might be a 2 to 3 week challenge for you. So others who are intermediate players, you may realize that you already have the skills to play this, and it's going to be easy for you to get there. So let me know what you think, and we'll talk about it soon. So have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Peace.